Hey, what's up, everyone? It's Odin. Of course, doing a little drawing and chatting away. This piece I'm working on is just kind of a random concept art for a buddy. Um, he has a podcast called Welcome to Frankenstein House, and they were just looking for concept art. But he kind of gave me some direction. He said they wanted Frankenstein, but like a modern version. And the idea is that uh, Frankenstein's monster is not alive like a human being alive. It's like an AI um, computer alive. So what it ends up being is just this floating head on, you know, it's like an AI Frankenstein. So when it's alive, it's alive. It's definitely more a modern, uh, what today's Frankenstein would be. So um, probably already technology to make to make an actual Frankenstein. We could probably like slap together cadavers and put a brain in a body with today's, you know. I think we have the technology to do it. I wouldn't doubt it anyway. But this was the idea he had, and he wanted just a concept drawing, so I've just been messing with it for him, just for a buddy. Yeah, and so I had some pencils. I'd started doing the what Dave Finch calls the cartoon ink, which is just like putting a little shell shape in one one weight line, drawn all over, and then after that you add shadow, you add your rendering and depth to it. But you start off with just the rough shape, and then go from there. So that's kind of what I'm doing now. So as I'm doing this little goatee on our doctor here, one of the ideas he had was that this character be based on one of our favorites, Elijah C. Scuggs. And if you don't know who Elijah C. Scuggs is, you should see the movie Freaked. Alex Winter, I don't remember the other guy's name, but it had like Mr. T in it. It had Bobcat Goldthwait. I can't remember. Who else was in it? I don't know. It was a very unknown movie, but one of the funniest, coolest movies I've ever seen. And it didn't take long after seeing it that I'm like, well, this is one of my favorites of all time, I think. And so I've always been a huge Freaked fan. Um, so yeah, kind of the motivation behind that, and that's why this is here, his mouse, his computer mouse. So that was something that was in the movie Freaked, and every time I look at it, I hear Elijah C. Scuggs just kind of under his breath go, Michael Jackson, Michael Jackson. And if you've seen the movie, you know why that's funny. Probably sounds stupid as shit when I say it, but that's what the mouse is. But that's an homage. It's probably a stupid idea. That's a stupid joke that's been used a million times. But I'm sure when Freak did it, it was probably a new idea, kind of cool. So yeah, I've just been drawing this. But yeah, I was thinking about a movie. It came up somewhere. I don't know if I was listening to a podcast or talking to somebody. Can't remember how it came up, but the movie was Super. I think it came out around 2000 ish. Rainn Wilson, and I think it was like James Cameron directed it or something like that. James Gunn. I don't know. I get those guys confused. I get all these guys confused because I really don't care. But it was like a bigger name director. It was one of his earlier things. But whatever, it came up somewhere, and it made me remember the movie. And I was just like, what the fuck? That movie was crazy. So I didn't know what to expect. There was a bunch of movies that came out all in the same vein around the same time. There was Kick Ass, there was Super, and there was the Woody Harrelson one, Defendor. I think it was Defendor, and they're all like sort of the same idea. Like normal citizen person wants to pretend to be a superhero, and it's on nearly gets them killed kind of thing. Um, I think Super and Defender were a little more like that. But so if you haven't seen it, this will be like spoiler shit. But the main character, Rainn Wilson, he just gets shit on his whole life, and he just doesn't stand up for himself. But he's like so quiet and just totally lame until he's just like, I'm done. I'm gonna be. I think he was the Crimson Avenger or something like that, some weird name. I'm pretty sure it had Crimson in it, and it was like the Crimson Avenger. That sounds right. But so he dons this shitty costume like they all do. I'm gonna go out and fight crime, but it's not like he's stopping muggers. He's not stopping rapists or murderers. So he's like enforcing politeness, societal understood norms. So his wife, I think it's his wife, is like a drug addict, slut, piece of shit, and he's just this like lowly idiot. But she's totally taken in with Kevin Bacon, who's the villain of the piece. He was certainly the villain of the piece. And he's her pimp or I don't know. He's just horrible, and it's just such a dichotomy of like what's going on. But that's what kind of sends him over the edge. And the part I remember the most was I think they were in line for the movies or something. I can't remember what they were in line for. Somebody cut in line, and they were a dick about it. They decided to cut in line, and he's like, well, I'm a superhero now. I got to avenge this situation. Fuck that shit. You don't cut in line. We can't let this justice go unchecked, or injustice go unchecked. He walks out to his car and grabs a pipe wrench, like the big pipe wrench, and proceed. And it was like really dark and real. He was like, there was no soundtrack. He's just like, whap, whap, you don't cut in line. And I was blown away. I'm like, what the fuck? He's beating a dude with a pipe wrench. That's his power. That's his super power. He's beating people with a pipe wrench. Yeah, and that was the whole premise of the movie. He's like, that's who I am. The Crimson Avenger. I beat people with a pipe wrench. Gosh, that was so funny. And it's like dark comedy. It's like funny, but fucked up. And like, I was really, I was taken back. I'm like, oh shit, he's beating him. And then the end scene, it's where he kind of like goes off fully on Kevin Bacon, who's the villain. I'm pretty sure he beat him to death with the pipe wrench. I don't know if they said, but it was a massacre. But while he's doing it, he's giving his reasons. He's like, you don't do drugs. You don't butt in line. Those are the rules. And he's just like, destroying him, killing him to death with a pipe wrench. But that was the thing. That was like, he just got fed up. It was kind of like Falling Down meets Forrest Gump or something, because he had this slutty drug addict wife. Because then at the end, he kind of goes on with her life, but he's like immortalized. She has a kid, and the kid draws pictures of the Crimson Avenger, and they put him on the fridge and shit. Or he drew a picture, like, so he was a really shitty artist, and he would draw pictures of himself, his concept art and stuff. I don't know. Anyway, well, I don't know why that just came up, but I was thinking there was a lot of movies even before those. Those three came out, the Defender, Kick-Ass, and Super, right at the same time. They're like right at the same time. And so similar. And then, but my favorite was always Mystery Men, which came out years before that. And my buddy had seen it before me, and he's like, "Have you seen that?" And I'm like, "Nah, I didn't. That looks stupid as shit." And he's like, "No, it's actually funny." And I'm like, I don't know. But he explained Mr. Furious to me, and I'm like, I gotta see this. Take my money, because he's like, yeah, he doesn't fight. Like, there's a big battle going on, and he's Mr. Furious. All he does is get pissed off. So there's a battle going on, everybody's fighting, and he's just in the back. And I'm like, but he doesn't do anything. He's like, no, he just gets pissed off. Like, well, that I'm sold. That's fucking hilarious. So, and then I saw it had great characters. Casanova Frankenstein, Paul Rubens, not exposed as the spleen. He had a lisp, and he would flatulate all over the place, and that was his superpower. Which that one's kind of lame, but he was funny. And then my favorite now, though, is William H. Macy, who, there's a classic scene. His wife is just tired of his shit, tired of him pretending to be a superhero, but she's trying to talk some sense into him. And she's like, "You can't keep doing this, you know." And he's like, "I know." And she keeps bugging him, and he's like, "Look, God gave me a gift. I shovel well." And then she's like, "Yeah, you shovel better than anyone I've ever known, but that doesn't make you a superhero." But William H. Macy played it very straight. He's just like, God gave me a gift. I shovel. You know, and it just cracked me up that, like, his whole motivation thinking he's a superhero is because he shoveled so well. That was great. Obviously, there's The Tick, which, that was my favorite for the longest time, the cartoon. And then the live action show, I actually fell in love with even more, honestly, because Patrick Warburton. So every once in a while, you've read a comic or a book, and they make a movie or a TV show out of it. And the voices, I'd say, more miss than hit usually, or they don't match up with how you read it. There's two that I can think of that I really thought they just nailed it. I'm like, that's how I read it before you ever made the movie or the show. When I read it, that's the voice I heard. One was Mickey Rourke playing Marv in Sin City. He would do the voice, and I was like, holy shit, that's exactly how I read Marv's voice. That's crazy. The other was Patrick Warburton doing The Tick. He had that, like, pseudo masterful superhero voice down, like, so down that it was scary, and but extremely funny because the dialogue was great and how it was written. I don't think it was I think his name's Ben Edlund, who created Tick. I don't think it was his favorite, and I haven't watched the new one just because I'm like, after Patrick Warburton, I don't believe anybody could be the Tick properly, you know. And everyone kept saying it was good, but I never checked it out. But I think that was his had his hand on it as the creator of the Tick, and probably the one he was most proud of. But I just loved the Patrick Warburton version, and I love the cartoon. That one was awesome, and that was the one that got me into it. But actually, no, I'd read the comic before that, so, and the cartoon guy did good. Anyway, you know what? And I'm not gonna lie, it's hard to draw and talk at the same time. And I don't know what the purpose of making videos right now. I'm just trying to make videos. I can't even fucking talk. But that's why I'm doing this, because somewhere down the road, I'm going to come up with a comic book idea. I'm going to want to promote it. And it'd be nice to have some practice talking, putting content on my YouTube channel, just because someday I'm going to want to utilize that. Right now, I don't know how. And right now it's like, oh, I could record myself talking while I draw, but I need a camera to see what I'm drawing. You see this? And so I've got this fucked up setup with a mic and a camera here, all to try to do that, and then it's at an angle. I can't get the angle right, um, but I'm doing it. But because all this shit is in the way, like I can't actually draw. It's actually hard because my hand is basically right, underneath all this stuff to draw. To get the camera in the right place, to have the mic close enough. And this mic is a piece of shit. It was cheap. Camera's a piece of shit. It's cheap. You know, I'm just trying to see what I can do. So anyway, that's the purpose of all this. I figure while I'm drawing all the time, I might as well show some shit and ramble. That's what I do. Ruminate on random topics like super. Check it out. Freaked. Check it out. Mystery Men. Tick. All that's good. So they're all highly recommended by me. Spoof comic book character stuff is usually pretty good. I mean, sometimes it's cringy, but I thought all those had their good elements. Anyway, this is Odin. Y'all take care of yourself. See you soon.